the talk. The also another first is that I get to speak in my pajamas. It's like because I'm just waking up. So this talk that you're about to watch, I recorded part of my talk. So yes, I am literally phoning it in this time. And because this is not a regular talk, because of the way SkyDog approached me about it, and because of the technical limitations, so I recorded something, and it turned into a rambling session that is not what you're expecting. But nonetheless, I hope y'all do enjoy it, and I hope y'all get something out of it. I don't know what, but hopefully you get something out of it. The funniest part about it, I think, and the best productive thing you can do during this talk is to do the drinking game. You will be drunk by the 15-minute mark, so go ahead and do that. And I'm doing it now anyway, so you're already prepared. But that's about it. With no further ado, roll the clip in introducing Jayson from the past. Okay, bye-bye. So, thank you for that introduction, Jayson and SkyDog. I say that because of the fact that I'm hoping that actually worked out right. Otherwise it's just going to be awkward because this is the recorded part of my talk. Also the backup if we don't have a nice communicational line to Beijing. Because that is where I am at currently. Well, I'm currently in my house now, but by the time you're seeing this, I'm there. We understand. So, I'd like to start off with the fact that this is going to be an unusual talk that you're watching, if not downright uncomfortable, because it's not a talk that I've ever given before. I don't have it rehearsed. So it's going to be a little bit more disjointed. I'm going to try to keep it going. I'm trying to just have it go through and be at least somewhat entertaining because that's what I do. So we'll see how that goes. But the good point is like if you start leaving and y'all start booing, it's like I'll never know because I'm not there. So yay! But also it gives me an opportunity. With this talk, because on this talk I'm not able to use kitty cat pictures or funny meme slides to help get my message across. So therefore that changed the very fundamental of what topic I was going to talk about. And I talked to SkyDog about it. Tell him it's like I didn't want to do a rant because I'm really good at ranting, and it's like and I didn't want to do try to do my whole talk without slides, which I think at this point I could actually do, but I think it loses some of it if it's not, you're not seeing that part of it as well. So I decided to go off topic, off script, and give a different kind of talk that you've never heard from me. It's one that's a little bit more raw because I don't have to see you when I'm giving it. So therefore, it's not a talk that I would give in public. It's not a talk that I would give to actual people. But it's something that I think people need to hear. And so I'm willing to put myself out there and give it. The title of this talk is just quite simply, why are you here? And I think that's the first part of the talk, was the question I came up with. And that's when I first started. It was the question I came up with is, why are you here? Why do we show up to these conferences? It's like, and I'm not talking about why am I here? Why are you here? As someone who's coming to these talks to participate and to be an attendee, why do you show up to these conferences? And be your first one or your 200th one. What makes us want to congregate and come together and listen? Because you can see these things on YouTube. It's like with Iron Geek, it's like it's there 5 minutes after the person finishes talking. So why? And I think it points to part of what I want to talk about, which is our culture and our community, because I think that's why you're here. My least significant moment at a conference is this time right here. And this sort of interchange right now sort of exemplifies that. It's just the perfect example of that. Because this is the least percent, because it's just me giving out information, telling people what I want the message to come across as and what I want them to know that I think is important, but I'm not getting anything back. There's no exchange of information. There's no communication. There's no connection. And that is why I'm here. Because all those hours before my talk and all those hours after my talk, that is why I'm here. Because that's where I'm making a connection. That's where I'm talking to people. That's not me dressed up in a Minion onesie giving out awkward hugs. That's people coming up to me and talking to me and telling me stories from their life or what their experiences are or what they've learned. It's like me going up to people and talking to them about what they've taught me and what I wanted to have and questions I wanted to have answered from them from the talk that they gave. That is amazing. That's what these conferences give you. That connection that you don't get putting a comment on a YouTube video. Because let's face it, rule number 1 of the internet, you don't Google Rule 34. Rule number 2 of the internet, you don't read the comments. Rule number 3, you never reply to the comments. Rule number 4, always remember rule number 1 and 2. That's just the way it goes. So being able to actually have that physical connection, being able to talk to those people who made those talks, that is important. That's why we go to these conferences. And that's a community. It's like that. What else does there need to be? It's like, we called it like, oh, it's a family, the hacker family. And it's like, why is that a bad thing? Why is that something that, that's like a connotation, like we're the only community that has that? Because we're not. It's like we love being the special snowflakes, except for we're in a special snowflake blizzard. So I've been to other conferences. I've been to a shipping conference in the Dominican Republic, to the National Wholesale Beer Association in Las Vegas. I have seen other conferences, and I've seen their communities. I've seen people genuinely happy and keeping up and keeping in touch with others who only see each other during those conferences. So we're not that special when it comes to that. We still have that hacker family, and that's a great thing to have. And I've always wanted there to be that community. So my thoughts are, that's why we're here. We're here to help build that community. To go from being in the industry, from like, this is my job, my work sent me here, stuff, because there was a training budget and we had to get for it. And so we had the money and the funds and we needed to spend it. So I'm here at this conference to learn relative things that are particular to my interest. To, I'm here because I want to connect with others. I'm here because I want to hear what others are doing and what others are going through and be a part of that. I want to help fix things. And I'm coming here to learn how to fix things better. Or I'm here to break things. And I'm here to learn how to break things better. It doesn't matter. It's the same ideal. You're here because you want to make a connection. And that is an amazing thing. One of the problems with being in the community and being at a conference is all the people. We start learning that behind that keyboard is an actual person. Back in the olden days, we're talking late 80s, early 90s, when you're on the BBSs, it's like, kids, have your parents Google that for you later. When we were on the BBSs and the IRCs, like the real IRCs and not the whatever there is out there now, before the Snapchats and Instagrams, we didn't know who was on the other side. It didn't matter if you were male or female. black or white, atheist or Christian. Those things didn't matter. You were someone that was providing information or asking for information or providing content or receiving the content. You were having an exchange. It was an exchange of ideas. But then social media came around, and we were able to start taking a glimpse behind the keyboard and start seeing that there were other people. And then we started reaching out in the physical world. It's like, and started going to conferences and starting having these conferences come up. We got to start meeting these people. And that is a great thing, but we still don't equate the fact that when we see those snapshots on the internet, we see that snapshot at the conference, we're not seeing the person. We're seeing the persona. We're seeing the avatar of that person in real life. I personally, I go through and I look at my Facebook timeline and I look at my Twitter stream and I see my posts, and there are times where I've actually taken a step back and going, wow, that life looks amazing. Look at that guy. Why can't I be that guy? Because that life isn't my life. That's not who I am. That's a representation of who I am, but it's not me. It's like, me is not exciting or fun. Me is not, the minion onesie or the awkward hugs. There's so many different facets, and those aren't fun facets, all of them. It's like some of them are dark, some of them are depressing, some of them are bad, some of them are just, human. And so we don't see that part. But recently, I've come to the point where I've started interacting with more of these people because of these conferences and reaching out into this community. I've had people reach out to me who have come up with issues that they've had, that their feelings that they're trying to cope with, problems that they're trying to straighten out, thoughts that they're trying to get through. And I've realized that one of the ways that instigated was because of the fact that I started being a little bit more honest about who I am while I'm online. Some of the problems I've come up with, some of the problems that I'm struggling with. And so I thought this would be a good time because I don't have to see you right now. I don't have to face the immediate repercussions of saying these things right now, that I can say them. Renderman had an eloquent statement at DerbyCon at the end of the thing, talking about his depression and what he's going through. And that was extremely brave. It's like, that was extremely touching for him to be able to come out with. And I'm way more of a coward. It's like, I'd rather hide behind my smile and my laugh than actually have people know parts about me that aren't as funny. Because if I'm not funny, people don't like me. If I'm not the funny, humorous guy, then I don't have as much worth as I used to. Because I've always, ever since growing up, it's like I was always taught that I had no worth. It's like I was beyond worthless. And that is something that I've dealt with. So I'd like to start off with that I've seen over the last couple of months other people facing this. So I'm not speaking for them. I'm speaking for me. And just like when I've given a talk on this stage where it's been with kitty cats and meme slides, I tried to give a point across. I've never tried to solve a problem. I've never said this is going to solve your issue. I don't think any other speaker can actually give one talk to say that it's going to solve something. These talks are there to spark conversation. These talks are to help ignite others' imaginations, to create change, to create that change, not to be the change. So I've never given a talk saying, okay, with this talk, I fixed this problem. My talks have always been, here's my talk, what do you think about it? What can you bring to it? What can you take away from it? And what you leave behind is what you leave behind. But just take something from it. Have something of it of value be in there for you to actually use later. And so I don't think this is going to be a part where it's actually going to be, I'm not trying to solve anything. I'm just trying to create a discussion point. I'd like us to have a discussion because I've seen too many people dealing with this, and you deal with it privately because every person believes they're dealing with it by themselves. And I've come across too many people that haven't, that have it, that are dealing with this problem, that it can't be. I just talked to someone a few weeks ago, and every issue that they were thinking and going through were almost identical to mine. The same feeling of inadequacy, the same feeling of worthlessness, the same feeling that you're a fraud and that you're going to be found out if you talk out. They were feeling that, and it crushed me because this person is someone that I look up to. And I'm like, how can you think that? I can think that because I am worthless. It's like, I know I have nothing really good to contribute except for silly hugs and stupid jokes and to be a character to laugh at. That's what I offer. That's what I feel I offer. How can this person who actually contributes to our community, contributes positively to our industry, feel those things? And while I was talking to them, the best way I was able to explain it to them is the way I feel a lot of the times, is that I'm on a boat, and I'm like on this ship on this dark, stormy sea. And usually the boat doesn't go anywhere. The ship's not really sailing. But every once in a while, there'll be a good current. There'll be something good that'll happen. And I'll get some wind in the sails. And it's like, I know certain people are really not finding this funny because it sounds like pirates, but I'm still a ninja. And you see these sails going, and you get this, breeze hitting you, and you're sailing, and you're sailing along, and you're making progress. And there are other times that you get caught, and you're like going fast, and it's like manic, and it's just, you know you're going in a direction. You don't know if it's the right direction, but you're at least moving. You're at least going forward. Until you get to the point where you realize that current that you're on is actually going around a whirlpool, and it's just dragging you under. And it all depends at the points that where are we that we have to fight that current back out, because we have to get out of that whirlpool or we're gone. And sometimes it's easy for me to catch those eddies and figure out quickly that I'm heading down one of those whirlpools to navigate out. About 3 months ago, I was at the edge. I was at the brim. I had a bottle of concrete cleaner on the counter next to a 2-liter bottle of Diet Pepsi that was half drank. I was going to fill up the bottle of Pepsi because I thought it would be hilarious that if I went out, it was through Diet Pepsi, because everybody likes to make fun about me drinking too much Diet Pepsi. That's my humor. I called someone, and they came over, and they kept me from going under. They kept me from going over the edge. That was the closest to the edge of the whirlpool I've been in a very long time. It's been over 20 years since I felt that way. And I'm not the only one. There are a lot of ships at sea right now. And my thought is, by talking about this and spurring this conversation, maybe we can get more of our ships closer together. Sort of latch on, send out some lifelines. So when we see others going close to that whirlpool, we can actually be there to help them get back out, to help catch them on the eddy, to do some kind of outreach, because there's a lot of us on this ocean. And the problem is, it's really dark and stormy, so we usually don't see anybody else. There's no lighthouses available as far as I've seen. But usually we can find another person on the ocean to help us out. And I'm tired of the sea nautical analogy, so I'll stop, and you're welcome. Basically, there's more to this community than research. There's more to this community than conferences, or drama, or Twitter, or Facebook, or the latest stunt hacking. What's this community is made of are people. People who are broken, people who need help, people who are giving out help and reaching out to help. It is made up of everyone that wants to see something better. That's what I believe. Not because I have empirical evidence, but because I need to believe it. I am trying to be one of those people to help reach out, to help look for those other ships, and to help latch onto them, and help pull them into safety. Not because I'm a good, because I don't think I'm a good person. I've never felt that. I try to do what a good person would do. I try to be a better person. I told my daughter one time, we were having a discussion because I had done some kind of blow up or something like that. And I had to talk to her afterwards, and I told her, I was like, look, Daddy's broken. It's like, and my goal in my life is to make you less broken than me. Because everybody that you meet is broken in their own special way. Some have small little cracks or small little hairline fractures, and others are just jagged pieces, just making by. And that was one of the most honest moments I've had with my daughter. So therefore, naturally, it's probably one of the saddest moments I've had with my daughter. But I believe it to be true. One of the reasons why I try not to judge others, and I try not to look at the negativity of others, is not because I'm a saint or someone. It's just because that's what I expect from others. I expect that kind of thing, and I'm trying to do better. So we can all do that. We can all understand that we're flawed. We can all understand that the people that we're dealing with are flawed. No one is going around with the answers. No matter how, and the more that they shout that they have the answer, the less likelihood they have the answer. It's like, but the likelihood does increase that they are trying to sell you the answer. It's not the answer. But the key thing is, and I'm going to end it on this, it's like, and it's been rambling, and it's like, I don't even know if anybody is still listening or still there, which is once again good that I'm doing it this way. Start being a community, because to me, that's why you're here. You're not here for me. You're here for us. You're not here to just take and learn. You're here to teach and share. Every single one of you has some information, has some educational standpoint, has a viewpoint, has a life experience that can help me in my life. Every one of you have something to share to others that can help make someone else's life better. Realize that and start sharing it. Look at the people around you that come to these conferences. Make a connection, make a friendship, and then start building something on it and start making the places around you better. this world, this community, this whatever, does not get better by Facebook status likes or retweets or how many views they get on YouTube. They get better when people start actively realizing there's something wrong and try to start fixing it. I'm here to say one simple thing. There's something wrong in our community. There's too many broken people and not enough people trying to put them back together again. Start understanding that when you have those Twitter feuds, that you're dealing with another human being that has problems that you don't know about. Start trying to be the good you want to see others give to you. That's what we need to do in this community. That makes us a community. Instead of trying to deny that we have a community, instead of trying to deny that we're a family, start at least realizing that we're part of a bigger thing. Humans, we're all connected. Though we don't like to admit it, and though imaginary lines on a globe and stuff, tells us different, we're all on this together. We all have problems that need to be faced. And a lot of our problems are universal. Why can't we start trying to fix those? Why can't we start trying to make things better? And it doesn't have to be global. I'm not saying go save the ice shelves in the Arctic or the rare Lopsopso and stuff, that's wandering in Algiers and stuff, that needs saving from extinction. Not those things. Just start dealing with the things that you can fix. Start reaching out to your community, find out where there's problems and where there's a need, and see what you can do to make it better. It's not just about throwing money at it, it's about throwing time, throwing ideas, throwing creative cycles at it. Because we're hackers. How can we not come up with solutions to make things better? How can we sit by and look at an imperfect world and not try to do something to make it better? That's why people fly now. That is the reason why there's footprints on the moon. It's because people looked and they said, let's do something else. Let's do something better. Now start looking at the people around you. The people that are hurting, the people that need help. And start seeing them. Not just someone that you can disagree with on the internet, but someone that you can help make better. I didn't say this the best way that I could have. But I will say I meant it. I meant all of it. I'm going to break for either question and answers, a discussion, or go back to seeing that the room's empty or whatever. Don't care. I needed to have this said. Or it may not go back at all because we may be having technical difficulties, and then you just get, SkyDog getting back on stage going, well, that's all, folks. I still can't get a hold of them. So, sorry about that. This was not the talk you were looking for. This didn't have the kitty cat pictures. This didn't have the character Jayson presenting, and I'm sorry about that for the people that were coming for that. But you did get to see a little bit more of me, and that's not always a good thing. It's like, I don't think so anyway, and so sorry about that. But you can get your money back, and I'm in China, so there's that. Talk to you later. I will still give out awkward hugs, and I will still be that guy when you see me next. But just remember, just like you, there's maybe a little bit more to it than that. Bye.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Jayson, everyone in the room is now drunk from playing the drinking game.
I can't believe people are still there. So
We enjoyed it, definitely.
cool, because it's now.
Can you hear us?
I didn't hear it.
Can
We
you hear us?
accept all parts of you.
Oh, well, thank you for that. It's like it's definitely awkward because after it disconnected, I realized, oh crap, I can see when people walk away because I'll be able to see after they come back, the room empty. Oh. So, are there any questions or anybody have any comments?
I
We
think
can give you more than awkward hugs. We'll give you real hugs.
Well, it's not just me that needs hugs, so I still don't mind the awkward ones.
so. We were talking the other night, and you made the statement about Facebook and retweets and things like that. One of the things that I've heard, which makes a lot of sense, is basically Facebook is everyone's A-roll. It's always
Right.
everyone having a great time, and it's wonderful, and doing awesome things. But you don't get to see the B-roll where they have to take the trash out every day, or they got to deal with not being able to make a mortgage payment, or something like that. That's what pissed them off and started the flame war with somebody
Right.
else on Twitter. So you can't always take into account what people post on Facebook as everything is perfect in their life. That they're dealing with the same things you are.
Exactly, and I think one of the key things also is that we get to the point where we forget the other aspect because we only see that one perception. So that's one of the reasons why I did this, was to show, just to start a discussion. This was literally the least part about it should be about what my experience was, and just be a starting board or a springboard to discuss what everybody else is feeling, what everybody else is going on, and understand that, okay, if it happens to that weird dude, then maybe it's happening to other people as well as myself. I'm not the only one.
Yeah. You got a question? Go.
Hey, Jason, it's Josh Moore. You probably can't see me. Wanted to say I've been part of an online group since I was 14, and nobody in that group's come forward to talk about their challenges, though we all knew they were there. And about a quarter of them are dead now. So for reasons, self-inflicted. So I just wanted to thank you for doing this for the community. I think it's important.
Well, thank you.
And we got him coming up. We got a microphone for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take the mic. Hey, so one of the things that you talked about was about a community. And for the last couple of years, this has kind of been a running trend. So everybody that has a little gray in their beard has started to kind of take stock in their life and review what the hell's broken in this community. And one of the reasons for that, I think, is that this community finally has some elders in it. It's relatively fresh. We were all broken. That's why we formed the community in the first place. A lot of us got picked on, got beat up, whatever. Not everybody is that person that they were, right? I mean, there's several veterans in the room. Me, lots of folks. We're not that person anymore. But even even the strongest of us there's still, every 22 minutes somebody's going to kill themselves that's had a bad experience. So why not do more of this? So Trevor and I talked. Why is it still about the industry? Every fucking con is about the industry. It's no longer about everybody getting together and wanting to learn something, or just meet some other people that may have an interest. I come here and I look for talent just as much as anybody else that has a damn job, right, to go hire people. But at the same time, that's not. I could do that, with my recruiting team. I come here to meet everybody, and I come here to still get new ideas. I'm kind of in awe at how everything is about the industry now. So maybe you can share some opinions on that. Or maybe you can just kind of keep staring blankly. That's kind of cool, too.
It's like, oh, I'm sure. It's like, I mean, there has to be a natural evolution of where because for somewhere along the line that we realized that, oh, we can now get paid for this stuff. And so I can make money and I can make a livelihood out of doing this. But that means I also have to interact and then be involved with corporate America or corporate, Europe or corporate Asia or corporate whatever. It's still corporate. That's universal. Suits are universal. So, but we still want to be the cool kids. We want to be the cool kids now. We want to be the hackers. We want to be that community that we had and we started online. The difference is we still have to change. It doesn't have to be totally transformed, but if we want to make a living out of it, if we want to be a career of doing this and helping and protecting others, then we also have to conform a little bit to the industry. But that doesn't mean we have to sell out or sell away our community. So I think there's okay for both of them to coexist, and also there to be a blending or an exchange program between the two every once in a while. But just remember that we're the community first. The industry happened afterwards.
Hey, Jayson, how many years of going to cons did it take before you quit having the con blues when you got back to your real life? You still experience them, or do you, when you've been around 1,000 people or 20,000 people who all like to do the same kind of thing you do, play with computers and technology and everything, and then you get back to the house and it's everyone around you has no clue what you're talking about, and you get that just depression that comes along with it. Do you still get that, or did it finally go away after a while?
Every time. It's like every time. It's not gotten away. The first time that I went to a conference was DEF CON 12, and it was the first time that I found people that liked me no matter how stupid I was, no matter how ridiculously I acted. I still found friends. I still found a connection. And then after a couple years after that, I started finding family. And I never really had a family before. So it was really interesting. It's like I had people that were genetically, similar to me, and we coexisted in the same habitat, but I had never had a family before. And so it was really weird and it was really new. And so, yeah, every time I come back from that conference, it's like, even though it's like I've built a very tight-knit group with my family now, with my wife and my 2 children, and I love them dearly, but I've never had that experience before. I had the experience of the conference still living in me and stuff, still like, why can't I still be around people that actually like me being around? It's like, it's only at my house where I'm more quiet and introverted, or I get to be out there sharing at the conference. So it's sort of difficult for me. Every time I finish a conference, I get that moment of like, when I'm back at the computer and I'm like, oh, back in the real world, I'm nobody.
Well, this is Evan at Pentest Fail. One of the things, and we've talked about this before, Sky knows this, that we'll get on, we have weekly calls where we plan for the conference or something like that, and Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi, woohoo! And there it is.
We should talk about your issue with Diet Pepsi sometime, Jayson.
This is actually an intervention.
Oh, wow.
This is Pepsi Max.
But that we'll get online, and that's the first that I've actually like interacted with somebody, and it's even then it's like via video or whatever. But there will go periods, because I work from home, where like my wife will literally come upstairs and say, "Sweetie, go to Best Buy, just leave the house, like go do something," because we find ourselves just so tied up into this, thing. And I'll get on with them, and it's the first social interaction I've had in like a week. And that I think sometimes that's the root of, sometimes we can't get out of our world so much to actually interact with each other. And sometimes the reason we come in, we have that euphoria here, like every one of you would probably think of me as this big extroverted, Evan's running around having a lot of fun, but the reality is, like, when I'm at home, I hardly ever leave the house. and so, and I think, I mean, does that resonate with anybody else? Maybe. And so, I'm any input? I mean, like with the family piece of it too. I know that for me, that's a huge piece. When my little girls come into the office, I make myself stop.
Exactly. That's how I have to deal with it. My family drags me out of my room, not just out of the house. It's like, because I've got my own lab, I've got my own little world that's my domain inside my house. It's like, so I mean, they drag me out of the house. My daughter knows that she always can come in and talk to daddy and give him a hug, and she does that throughout the day, which is always great. But I consciously make that effort to say, no, I'm going to get up and just walk around the street with her, or go paddling on the lake in our boat with her. I'm going to go to the mall, or I'm going to go to the store, or I'm going to go to this fair or event because my family wants to go. It's always my wife dragging me to social things outside of hacking conferences. I literally told my family one time, it's like in Houston, and my in-laws, I said, look, you need to understand something. The only reason why you see your grandchildren is because of your daughter, because I could care less if they ever knew you or knew anybody in this city. So you better be a little bit nicer to her, because it's like, she's the only reason why you get to see them. It's like, the only reason why my children know my side of the family is because of my wife. So it's like, she's the one that is responsible for trying to keep me attached to normal, real people. Otherwise, I wouldn't have any contact with them at all.
So, you know, we've had different people have had different conversations with me over time, and one of the ones I thought was really interesting. I had someone that I spent a lot of time around, and at one point in the conversation, they said, "You know what? I never thought you'd actually talk to me." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And they said, "You're SkyDog." And I said, "Okay, what does that mean?" And she said, "You know, I can't believe that you would actually talk to me." And I think there's this perception of, you know, a rank and file or something like that. You know what?
Right.
I go through stuff the same way everyone else does, and I give great advice. It's usually punctuated with explicatives and everything else. And it may not be great, and it may not fit the situation every time, but, you know, honestly, everyone in this room, everyone at DEF CON is a person, and they're dealing
Yes.
with their own crap no matter what. You know, there are a lot of people that are just getting started out, and they get just absolutely ambushed by the amount of information and the number of people who they can actually talk to. That, you know, finally they can interact with somebody who understands what in the hell they're talking about. I don't know, you guys, is Ski Boy in here? Good, I want to talk about him. So Ski Boy originally came to the Hacker Consortium by way of his mom. She dropped him off one day, and he was underage or whatever, you know. So you go in the consortium, there's handguns, there's, you know, bottles of alcohol, there's a Playboy laying on the middle of the bench. And I'm like, I'm not really sure this is the best place for him, but, you know, he can come hang out for the day. And so she came back that afternoon and picked him up. And Ski Boy's had been smacked with the Asperger's bat pretty bad. So he finally found his people. So she brought him, you know, contacted me, can he come back next week? And I said, okay. He didn't say anything bad about us, did he? She said, no, he had an absolutely great time. She said, you know, for the first time in forever, the kid came home and was happy. And she says, we have no idea what the fuck he's talking about on a daily basis. She said, he went to hang out with you, and everybody knew what he was talking about, and he was absolutely tickled. Can he please come back? And if anyone's, you know, been around Ski Boy for a period of time, you can see how he has gone from, you know, completely nerdy, just goofy, to slightly nerdy and goofy. But he's, you know, being around us has helped him actually form friendships and learn how to talk to people and discuss things with them. And, you know, honestly, if it weren't for that, he doesn't have anybody around him on a regular basis that he can talk to. So, I get texts in the middle of the day, hey man, what's going on? Can I come over and hang out this Sunday? Okay, sure. And trust me, love the kid like the day is long. From the moment he steps in the door until he gets in his car to leave, it is nothing but a question and answer session about everything I own, something he's seen on the internet. But he has nobody else to do that with.
Don't let him talk
Right.
about 4chan.
Yeah, no, 4chan, no. I've banned him from talking about it. Yeah. Oh, he brought it up at lunch? Yeah. So, yeah. So, I think that, like Sean said that, or Shane said that we got the gray beards now. I got gray in my beard. I think maybe it's light. You got a little bit of gray in yours. It looks like you may have colored. I don't know. You're trying to cheat death there.
No, I've got some gray.
There you go. But I mean, we're at this point now where, we as the wise elders are looking around going, this kind of sucks. This is not as fun as it was before.
It sucks and we made it.
Yeah, it sucks and we kind of guided it that way. Yeah.
We did that.
Yeah, we did that. And we need to fix it. But there's, what do we do? I mean, what do we do? Have a 1-800 number? I mean, that's a difficult proposition, and how we actually fix it, it's most likely us just having to turn around to somebody and say, hey man, how's it going? The new guy that shows up, and he may be full of talent, or he may be the most broken person on the planet, and this may be his last chance to find someone who can understand him and hang out with him.
You will always find me at every conference in the lobby, available and hanging out with any person that's there. I try to make sure that, and that's one thing I like about the awkward hugs, is that it makes me more approachable. It's like, I am never, and I've never considered myself someone, I still freak out when people that I see up at giving talks actually know my name. That still weirds me out a little bit. It's just amazing. It's like, I'm like, whoa, that happened. So I am never somebody special. It's like, I want to be just a person that comes to a conference to learn, to network, to be there. And I'm learning from not just the people that are standing on the stage. I'm learning from a lot of smart people that are showing up to these conferences to learn as well. And that's where it happens. So there should always be networking. There should always be, never be afraid to talk to anybody. Not just speakers, though, but also other attendees. The people that you still see with you that are in that room with you. It's like they have something in common.
Hey, Jason. So before I make my main comment, I want to say something for you specifically. You've said a couple of times that you're not something special. You are. You get on stage, you say things we all want to hear, and honestly, my kid kind of thinks of you as one of his heroes. He came home from DerbyCon 2 years in a row and says, I want to be like Jayson Street. So there's a 13-year-old in my house who thinks you're the coolest thing in the world. So just know that now. You are something special to us. And
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And I think there's three things at play here. One is that, we're a community that grew up because of computers, and we found each other, and that community is changing, and that's the hard part. Is there's another generation coming along, and they have their own ideas about what's going to happen versus what we did. And whether we want it to or not, the community is going to change. And that's true of all communities throughout history. And if we continue to try and hold on to some vestige of the past, it's only going to hurt, instead of trying to figure out how do we bring these new people in and make something new in the future. And that goes along with what Evan was saying. Largely what we do is between our ears. It's what's happening in the gray space, gray matter of our heads. It's not so much as a group. And the reason that cons like this happen is, as human beings, we have a need to be around people like us. Whether it's 10 people in a room or 20,000 at DEF CON, we have a need to connect. And IRC or Twitter or whatever the hell it doesn't cut it. We've actually got to get in physical meet space with one another and have talks and do stuff. And the bottom line from that for me is, I come to this stuff because you guys give me a place to do what I can't do by myself in my basement.
Exactly.
We're really gonna later.
Later,
We're gonna talk to you about what you do in your basement alone. But wow, oh good then.
my C code's not that sexy.
It also doesn't have physical interaction.
Oh, you got it?
So, I'm not going to go on a social justice campaign because that's a bunch of bullshit. But the core of this problem is a lack of diversity. It's not just a lack of diversity in, middle-aged white guy syndrome or anything like that. It's a lack of diversity in input. We focus on a singular area, and a lot of us have started to talk about, well, let's just go rent a fucking beach house or get a cabin where there's no goddamn reception and see what happens then. Really have an actual social experiment where you can't stare at your fucking phone. You can't stare at a screen. We might actually have to talk or figure something out. There's a shitload of us that like other things other than technology and can have real conversations about that. I mean, I really like motorcycles. I like guns. And a lot of us like guns, and we can talk all day about that shit. There's a lot more that we can talk about other than guns and computers, though. And there's a lot that we could do to bring other people into this community to share with them. There are people that are, gun nuts, motorcycle nuts, whatever. There's people that are just like us that are sitting around here going, you know what? We need something more to keep this going. So maybe there should be a bit more outreach to other groups that are, like-minded. There are plenty of people with a hacker mindset in this world that don't talk to hackers.
Well, there's still a stigma about hackers.
Well, fuck a stigma, man. Come on.
Yeah, they're the bad guys.
That's a self-imposed label. I like to break things, I like to fix things, and I like to go out and adventure and explore. And ultimately, that's what we are, is a bunch of explorers.
Well, I tell people, you call me a hacker now, but 200 years ago, you called us inventors. You called us creators. It's like the terminology changes, but what we are has never changed. We're people that go out and we try to make things. We try to make things better. We try to explore. We try to create. We try to shape the world around us. That's never changed, just the label.
Well, and the idea is that if you look back at the concept of a Renaissance man, right, is someone that is not locked themselves in their basement to work a singular project for their entire lives. For God's sake, a lot of us have kids and everything else. I went out, and I'm from Indiana anyway, so I know all this farm stuff. And if you know what the FFA is, that's great. I'm very proud of you. But my kids got to see a calf being born at the York Fair, and it was fucking awesome. And the other part about that is that I'm like, wow, and look at all this technology in agriculture. That's kind of interesting. I wonder what else I could do with all this stuff. And it brings all that stuff together. But that's my point being. There are people that you'd never think to talk to that are like, I was at a farmer's market in Bloomington, and an Amish guy saw my Linux t-shirt and started talking to me about kernel stuff. This is the weirdest fucking thing ever.
Does he write code up his horse's ass?
Let's not go into details.
The weirdest one I've ever experienced was I figured out that Bruce Potter likes to do woodworking. And we had a discussion.
Like is not appropriate. He has a fucking addiction. You know how much wood I bought Bruce's old house. I'm that guy. There was an engine block that I threw my back out getting out of my house, but there is a lot of wood in my house still because of Bruce. Because he has no room in his house. Because he has all the other wood.
Cool. Anybody else? Rick, you want? I like that.
I'm trying to be polite.
Use the microphone, asshole.
So, I think one of the things that struck me is that, yes, this community is very intimidating to people who first come. And I think a lot of that has to do with that the community sees itself as being a meritocracy, which it is in a way and it isn't in a way. The problem is that it encourages people to create persona, and that is isolationary. And I think one of the things that Jayson is trying to do here is to drop some of that isolationism, and thank you. So there are other factors at work which cause isolation as well. But I think this is a big one, and one of the reasons why I like the smaller cons is that it is easier to break that kind of stuff down. So that's good enough, right?
So the downside, Jayson, because you're in Beijing, you're going to miss out on the fun because after this, we're going to actually break for dinner and go get some grub. Hopefully everybody will, pile into cars and go. And then when we come back, the evening from 9 o'clock till 11, or whenever we decided to get shut down by the hotel, is LoungeCon, where we're just going to kick back and listen to some tunes and shoot the bull and talk shop, what you're playing with at the house, what ideas you have, and just hang out and have a good time. And we're going to miss you not being here. So next year, you're in charge of LoungeCon. You have to have your ass here in Nashville, okay?
I'll be there.
Excellent, excellent. Got anything else for us?
No, I'm actually, it's starting to get more daylight out there. I'm about to be heading out, and I got to go start the day. I've got a couple meetings, and going to go look at some computer parts.
Cool, very cool. I want to say thank you for doing this. This was an absolutely wonderful talk, and it took a lot of balls to do it, and it's going to be on the internet, so you're screwed.
Crap. Dude, I've been shaking. Literally, it's like the camera's been shaking because the whole time I'm like, oh, crap, this is like, the impact is starting to sink in.
No, it was absolutely wonderful. Thank you, sir, for doing so.
All right. You guys take care.
All right. Cheers. We'll see you.